it's Sunday, which means that BlogHer just ended in the city. I thought that I would switch things up a little bit and do a video post this afternoon for you all to kind of top line what the BlogHer conference is, kind of share some of my thoughts and feedback from the conference. So BlogHer overall is a publishing and ad network geared towards women that reaches over 40 million women each month. So it is absolutely huge, and it's wonderful because the women who are part of the BlogHer network aren't just in the health and fitness realm, such as my blog. They are in all different realms. So there were women there that blog about government, environmentalism, relationship. They may blog about dealing with elderly parents or dealing with a child who has autism. They may blog about their relationship or gay and lesbian relationships or travel or cities. So it's a great way to open your eyes up to other blogs and people that you would never have a chance to meet otherwise. The BlogHer network happens to have a conference each year, normally in July or August, and this year the conference took place in New York. So for me, it was never a question of whether I was going to attend. While tickets for some people seem to be expensive, for what you gain from the 2 days of the conference, Friday and Saturday, I think it's phenomenal. Even just what I gained from listening to the keynote speakers or going to the sessions was more than worth it for me. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that I like and the things that I dislike, and hopefully this will also kind of put your mind at ease if you're thinking about going to BlogHer next year, or just answer some questions if you're wondering what all these BlogHer hashtags were about this weekend on Twitter, or if you've been seeing other bloggers talk about BlogHer. So, like I said, the conference itself is huge. There were over 4,000 bloggers that attended this weekend. So when you bring 4,000 female bloggers into one space, it can be a little bit of an estrogen overload. But I think one thing that I want to make sure everyone realizes is no one walks in there with this scarlet V saying, I'm a blogger conference virgin. No one can tell whether you've been blogging for 1 year or for 8 years. And I think that's something that I love about the conference. Everyone is really on the same wavelength, and everyone that is there is just looking to inspire and help the woman sitting next to them. I have not had a single negative experience with the women at this conference. There's no cattiness. Everyone is just excited to be there, excited to connect with bloggers that maybe they've been talking with via Twitter for over a year but have never met in person, and just to learn the whole entire weekend. And so I think that's something that I really want to make sure people realize, is that even though BlogHer is one of the larger conferences, and it may seem a little overwhelming, it's really a great place to meet people. The speakers were absolutely phenomenal. When you're talking about a conference of this size, 4,000 very different women who are influential each in their own way, but who are reaching readers and businesses and brands each day, the team at BlogHer is really able to secure some phenomenal speakers. This weekend alone, on Friday, while I was not able to attend Friday, I heard Martha Stewart was wonderful and very down-to-earth, really talking about her own blog and her company as it's evolved over the years. And then yesterday, during lunch, the keynote speaker, Katie Couric, was hilarious. I mean, just seeing this woman who for so long you thought of as the evening news anchor, and for her to speak openly about her husband's passing at such a young age, raising her children, and the support that she did get, or just her evolution as a female going, into her 50s and trying to evaluate her role today and what she wants to do next, and hearing about her new talk show, it was absolutely hilarious. She has amazing guns. She spins at Flywheel in New York, just as an FYI. She let us know that yesterday. But I think the keynote speakers are absolutely fabulous. I love the length of the sessions. At some conferences, sessions are only 20 to 30 minutes or maybe an hour max, and at BlogHer most of the sessions were an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes. And so this was great because it allowed for questions to get answered and for all the content to be shared. Speaking of content, I love the open share policy. Every session I was in, at the very beginning, they let you know that, hey, we're going to post everything online, so focus on us, don't focus on taking notes right now, and we would love for you to share the information as well. So I think that was just really great that every panel was really open to sharing their information and spreading the knowledge that they've gained from their experiences. So things that I didn't necessarily love. I went to BlogHer in 2010 and was amazed with the food at that event. This year it was a A little bit of a miss. I heard that the food was better on Friday than Saturday, but when you're dealing with this many women, while I thought it was great to see that they had gluten-free options at some of the buffets, I just was a little underwhelmed, especially by the breakfast buffet. But in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing that a Starbucks down the street can't help. So not a big deal whatsoever, but just something in the future. I'm sure at BlogHer Food it may be a different story, but still just in general. I mean, the hotel staff did a phenomenal job with making sure that the food was coming out as quickly as possible and getting it served, but I think overall I'd love to see it go back to what it once was. The expo setup. While the expo and networking with brands was not my priority this year, even the hour that I did spend roaming the expo site, it definitely wasn't as easy to explore as years past. Historically, the expo was all in one huge ballroom, or I guess there's probably multiple ballrooms, but you could literally just walk the floor. This year's was split across 2 different levels, which made it a little confusing and made it difficult to get in there for quick bouts of time in between sessions. So you kind of had to dedicate more time to making sure that you weren't missing anything. I also noticed that the brands this year were a lot of smaller niche brands, which is great because it's a great way for them to get their awareness out there. But some of the larger brands, it seemed like maybe they were supporting the Olympics this year and weren't able to do something like a BlogHer conference at the same time. But still, overall, I had some great opportunities to network with brands that I'll be able to share with you all soon that I think really meet some of the things that we're looking for in our interests. Another thing was, even though the sessions were phenomenal, I primarily went to the professional track, so I learned a lot about videos, I learned a lot about working with brands, I learned a lot about making sure that I'm using different social media platforms. The session rooms were not always large enough. One of the sessions that I was in, the house was absolutely packed, and because of fire code, there was over 100 women who weren't able to come into the session, which is really tough to deal with when you have a spot but you know there are people outside that are being turned away. So I would hope in the future maybe they can make sure that all the rooms are large enough to accommodate the people that are going to want to go into the sessions. But speaking of sessions, I mean, I really do have to give it to them. The panelists were truly experts in their field. They were so approachable and so friendly, which made it great because after a session you felt at ease if you wanted to go and walk up and ask questions or reach out to them via email in the future. So I have to really give props to BlogHer for choosing some great panelists. And overall, the only other thing that I really would provide as feedback is, I mentioned that they have different tracks. This year they had a political, personal, professional, technical, and visual track. I would love for there to be a content track that really gets at, maybe a mix of the importance of grammar and treating your blog like it is a type of journalism, to just the overall content and making sure that you're having the right content for your readers. I think there's something to be said for the meat of what we as bloggers do every day. And so while I realize it's hard to reach the needs of everyone, I think this could be a great idea for the future. Overall, if you all have questions about BlogHer, whether it's the ad network, the publishing network, or the conference overall, feel free to leave a comment or shoot me an email. I would love to provide feedback, and I'm more than happy to talk about what I learned within each of the sessions if there's interest. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week.